In any case, in the end, Ampex 4 months later introduced the Mark IV prototype of what was to become the VRX 1000, of which they made about 16, and then that became in '57 the production version, the VR 1000, which went on to greater fame and glory. The black and white recorder, and RCA meanwhile realized also that their machine was not going to make it in the marketplace with the fixed head and the big reels and the fast-moving tape. So they made a deal with Ampex for 2 quarters. In the last quarter of '57 and the first quarter of '58, Ampex and RCA swapped patents. They opened up their books and said, whatever's video, you can have, and RCA said whatever's color, because they were way ahead in color. Ampex had no color knowledge to speak of. Ampex could have the color. So that's how we ended up with color VTRs, the Ampex 1010 color kit in 1958, with some people doing that, and Joe Roizen and others, and then RCA came out with their version, the TRT-1AC, their black and white version was TRT-1 or TRT-1A, and then the C was color. So we had color video recording as early as 1958. We still have the Fred Astaire, the first Fred Astaire television special, that's been restored and is out there somewhere. And those were amazing days. And when you looked at low band color, which this was only what, 4 megahertz or something like that. Looked pretty good.
Why did RCA ship an Ampex color VTR to Moscow for the '59 exhibition there?
Would have been RCA, would have been NBC, would have been the networks. And
it was the RCA Pavilion, though.
Was it the RCA Pavilion? Well, then you got something on me.
And everything else was RCA in the pavilion.
Right, but the Ampex...
It was an Ampex machine and 5 Ampex engineers that went along with it.
Well, that's weird. Now, there may have been something to do with the that was at was it Saloniki, whatever the name...
The name of the park, yeah.
Yeah. You know, there were 2 kitchen debates, right? They were both videotaped. One was there was a kitchen, Joe Roizen told me this story, because he was there. They had a mock-up of a modern kitchen, just with like a set.
Right.
And that was where one of the debates, I forget which one of the first one of that day, between Khrushchev and Vice President Richard Nixon, Premier Khrushchev. And so they were videotaping that, but then they also had a full huge, they'd built a house, a modern ranch-style house, which of course had a kitchen. And so they ended up stopping in the kitchen again and talking. But I don't know the answer to that question. Joe Roizen was a marvelous character, and I'm embarrassed to say I can't remember the name of his partner, who's up in Grass Valley still. I'll think of it as soon as the camera turns off. Embarrassing. But he was also there. He also participated in the creation of the 1010 color kit, which was an add-on to the thing, which became in '58 they introduced the VR 1000B, and I believe the B's then the option was to get it with the kit, with the color kit, as an add-on. By that time, they're up to 3 racks. Did you know that the Chicago machine had no racks? It was all inside the Mark IV cabinet.
No.
Yep. They didn't realize that they needed. If you look at the pictures, there are no racks.
Wow.
It was all inside this machine, and that's one of the reasons why when Charlie Anderson designed the cabinet, he didn't realize that 36 inches is a standard width for a door. The thing's 38 inches wide.
Okay.
And unfortunately, I had that cabinet, and it got away from me. That's the way it goes. It was kind of big, but partly he was trying to stuff all that crap into the thing. But there were a number of aspects of the electronics that they hadn't really. They were refining, and they got it back. They got the Mark IV prototype back. And there were heat issues and everything. Just imagine all those electronics in there.
I can't imagine.
It was just packed in there like crazy. And I'm sure the back was wide open during the demo, and they were blowing on. And so they realized right away when they got the thing back, still in the spring of '56, we got to put this in racks. So first it was 1 rack, and then the VRX 1000 serial number 4, which broadcast on November 30th, 1956. Douglas Edwards in the News, the first time-shifted American network, regularly scheduled American network broadcast. We got to get these refinements straight here. They had done NBC ABC, to their credit, had done several videotape time shifts, and this is one of my favorite stories about the early VTR, the development of the videotape recorder, was that as these 6 guys were working madly on this machine to get it ready, Ampex hired a fellow named Al Eisberg. I think it was Eisberg. Eisberg. Sorry, Al. Al was brought in, and nobody knew what this thing was for. They hadn't really done any real market research or anything. They just figured it's a real good thing to do. Everybody thought, well, yeah, we have to have this, a way to record television on magnetic tape. And so the question was, how many of these are going to sell? Well, they thought they would sell somewhere between $50,000 and $75,000. It's a lot of money in 1956. That's sort of like about close to $1 million today in buying power. It's an expensive machine, but they Eisberg and the other people there, and no shame to them. Everybody was trying. They just didn't know what people were going to use this thing for. So they figured, well, it's time shifting. So the military is going to want 1 or 2 at this high the dollar value per buck. The networks will want 1 each for time shifting, and you could get a half-hour show on these things. So and then later on with the bigger reels, you get an hour and thinner tape, and so you get a whole hour on there. So of course, maybe ABC, NBC, CBS each get 1, BBC 1, and at the show, at the NARTB, which is today NAB show in Chicago, on April 16th, in April of 1956. That week, they got pre-orders for 75 machines, and there were already people. There was a guy from a really famous ad agency, and of course I can't remember the name of it, who who said, "This is going to be our production machine. We're going to produce television on this thing." They hadn't even thought about that. It was all time shift, and so production. That's interesting. And of course the whole problem was sync. But the idea was you produce this thing, and the guy blows it. Try it again, and I believe the first videotape produced television commercial in American history was Dennis James selling Kellogg's Corn Flakes. I believe, wasn't he in the swimming pool?
Yes.
And this was a breakthrough.
Doyle Dane Bernbach, I think, was that agency. DDB.
Very good.
Yeah, that's right. He was in a swimming pool. I remember that.
I remember seeing the thing. We had that. We had at Ampex. It's probably gone now. The demo reel, they included that. And don't go there. Yeah, I know.